What's up, everybody? It's AJ with etrailer.com. Today we're going to be checking out these A-frame ladders from Telestep. These are a great way to get that functionality of a ladder with you wherever you need it. And take up far less space than your normal A-frame ladder would. You wouldn't have room in the basement of your rig or even in a closet in here. You can put it behind the couch and it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, or any closet space you have. That way, if you're on your adventure over the weekend and you want to get up on the roof or anything, the AC's on the fritz, you want to clean out the gutters, or you just want to check on something there, you can. Now, if you're looking for something a little bit more like a leaning ladder, Telestep does offer that, and they take up even less space. So you can check those out on our website as well. But today we're mainly going to be focused on Telestep's A-frame ladders, and those are going to come in 6 foot, 8 foot, and 10 foot is the ones we're going to be looking at today. So when I first started this project, I worked with some of the leaning telescoping ladders first, but the more I've worked with these, the more I trust them. And the A-frame is even more trustworthy just looking at it, I think, because it's the more traditional ladder design where you got these two legs that sit down there, which automatically like, all right, well, I'm not leaning against something. This makes it even sturdier. And there's a bunch of little things that they added to make you give you that peace of mind. So even on the inside and the outside, you can see these little dots. They'll be red when it's not okay to walk on, and green when it's okay and it's locked out. So there's the green on there. They're also on the inside. So that's a thing they thought of, like, you know, when you're setting up the ladder and bringing it out, bringing the both legs apart here, you can look on the inside and see the green and know, okay, it's good, it's locked into place, I can start climbing. Another thing I really like that this even has above other A-frame ladders, if you look down at the base, it's got that extended base out there. Most of the time they just have 4 feet that go in the ground, and I don't know, every time I go to set up a ladder, you gotta set that and position it, you know, make sure it's in the right spot. You step on that first step and it might tilt one way or another. This one doesn't have that because of that wide base. I can jump them down the ladder, no big deal. I can go side to side. It's not tilting one way or another, and that makes me feel more comfortable the higher I go up on it. Taking a closer look at the step, you can see that it's a little bit wider than the normal step, and even though it looks like there's a nice little lip here, it's actually even when you pull this out and you step on it. Your foot steps on this nice and even, giving you that extra space to step on, plus the grooves in there have some texture so you grab it with your foot. Another thing I really like about it is this kind of safety handle. It goes up and extends past the top of the ladder, so you shouldn't be stepping up here, but when you are this high up, it's kind of cool to have this bar to kind of hold on to. While I'm using the brush here off to the side, I can make sure I have this. Just makes me feel more at ease. All those features are great, but how easy is it to set up and break down? I mean, you gotta collapse the ladder after all. You want it to be easy and quick. So I'm gonna show you how it goes. First off, here's the strap that comes with them. It hooks with a hook and loop underneath there, so it's easier to carry it around. You don't have to come all the way down here to grab it and carry it. You can use this strap instead. Let's peel off the hook and loop and set this aside. And then all you do is you wanna step down here on the bottom 2 steps, that way they stay in place and you can start lifting it up from there. Like that. Then we're just gonna separate it. This clicks into place. That way it keeps it nice and even on both sides. Now it's locked in place. You can use it. You can see, it didn't take that long to set it up. And the same thing goes for breaking it down. So just come back here. Just push down the arms on the inside. Comes together in the middle. Then we'll come back down and pinch right here, and then it'll drop back in. We'll start with that one, and then it starts to come down. You'll kind of see it disengage, and you can push down on it from there. So it really is that quick and simple. Now the 10-foot ladder is a little bit different. You have these here. Instead of just pushing up or down the arm, you can't do that. You have to push in with your 2 fingers on this plate on the back and push this button here, and that disengages it. You see it goes down. Same thing on this side. And now we can bring it together. Now something I want to mention is that this 10-foot one is a little more top heavy than the other ones. It still has the gas struts in there, but this one you really want to be careful with. So you do not want to put your hands in here or anything like that. You want to come down here by the base and make sure you hold here. That way your hands aren't in the way. I would probably put a piece of tape or something here at the base just to mark it. You can visually look at that every time and know, put your hand there, it's out of the way. So you're gonna come in here, and the same latches as last time. You're gonna push in on it. You can feel it disengage there, and I'll do this one here. Now it kind of slowed down there. You probably saw this fall off in the last part. That's okay. This part is an add-on that helps you set it up when you put it on stairs. I'm going to show you how it works here, and then we'll go inside in the office and show it on some real steps. How it works is the ladder doesn't retract until the rung underneath it has. So this block here keeps this from fully retracting. You can see the gap and see that it's not fully back down or clicked into place. So these aren't going to disengage, so they will stay sturdy for you to put your weight on. So you set it up the same way on steps as you normally would. You put one foot down here, and we're going to fully bring it up. Make sure it locks in. Looks like we got green, so we're good. So I'll bring this out. Go ahead and lock in the arms. We'll come here beside the steps first. Lock in the arms. And then we'll come back with this, and we'll put this under the side we want it to stop, so it gets a little bit shorter. So we'll put it here at the bottom. And now when I lower this, this will hit here and lock in the base, and that way it can stay uneven. So then we'll come back down, pull this side, and you can see it catches now. So that adjusts it and locks it in so I can tilt it up and put it on the step. Now we set it up in the hallway at the office. You can see how it evens out on the stairs, which is actually a pretty useful feature. I mean, you know, we've all had to change that light bulb in the stairwell or try and paint here. It's nice that this ladder auto adjusts. You don't have to kind of sketchily balance a ladder. That's not good. So we can easily just go up it here. It stays into place just fine. And now I can reach up here and do what I need to do and not be as scared on the steps. Clearly you can use the ladder in a bunch of different scenarios, but is it gonna hold up? It's made out of aluminum, so you don't have to worry about it being heavy. It's gonna be nice and lightweight, but it's still strong, so it can handle up to 375 pounds, and the aluminum's not gonna rust or corrode. If you step on it with wet shoes or anything, it's not gonna bother it. Another great thing is, no matter which ladder you get and what style it is, they are all OSHA compliant, so you don't have to worry about using them on the job site. Now I'm standing by the basement door on the rig we have pulled in today. Everyone's different. Everybody's gonna have different size ones, but you can see this one's not that big, so these aren't gonna fit in our basement door. We'll have to store ours inside. But yours is gonna be different, so I'm gonna give you the measurements to figure out if it's gonna fit in yours or not. So we'll start with the 6-foot one. It's gonna be 29 inches tall, 25¼ inches wide, and 6 inches deep. Then we'll move on to the 8-foot one. That's 31½ inches tall, 27¾ wide, and that one's also 6 inches deep. Then we'll move on to the 10-foot one. That's going to be 34 inches tall, 30½ inches wide, and 7¼ deep. So just because it doesn't work for us doesn't mean it's not going to work for you. So make sure you get those measurements on wherever you plan storing these to make sure you have the room for it. Because it's a really great feature that they get this compact, because if you have a regular 10-foot ladder, you have to have the space for that 10-foot ladder. So you have to make sure you find it's where when they don't get compact, you have to have all that room. These, you don't. It's awesome. You can fit it in there if you can, or put it behind the sofa or something like that on the inside. The only thing I thought it was missing was something to set your tools on if you are all the way up there working on something, and you know you don't want to have a bunch of screwdrivers in your pocket and the hardware to fish for that stuff. But they do have a tray that goes on top of these, fits right in there. It has the holes for the screwdrivers and plenty of little compartments for all the hardware, so you can have everything up there when you need it. You have to spend a bunch of time climbing up and down the ladder. What's up, guys? Me and Aiden have been messing with the Telestep ladders the last couple of days. We've got our hands on the regular one here. We have the heavy-dutier one here, construction grade, and then the A-frame one. We also have a step stool to look at, and the stick ladder in the corner. At first, I was a little shaky about it because I don't know. Would you be a little worried? What would you think about the first thing when you're looking at one of these?
I don't like ladders in general, so they may, yeah, yeah. I don't like heights. So.
Yeah. Same. Well, I mean, I guess I don't mind ladders, but getting up on the RV is another thing. So when we set this up, first couple times, I'm looking at Aiden and being like, "This is all locked in, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's all linked." So that's some of the things I didn't like about it. The more I used it, I liked that it had the green markers here on the steps, so that when I do climb, or before I even climb on, I look, I see that it's green. I know it's okay. I know it's locked into place. The more I climbed up and down it, the more I trusted it. And that's all the versions. I think I like the lean one better than the A-frame one myself. I just felt a little more certain. Well, I don't know. I like that handle on the A-frame one at the very top too. So I guess if I'm going super high climbing, I like the A-frame with that extra handle on top to kind of just have something to hold on to. You know. And this one you can kind of just get to the top of the RV or whatnot. But as I used it, I saw that there's more features in place that actually kind of put my mind at ease on how it locks into place. And it hasn't. We've been messing for what, 2 days, and it hasn't collapsed or like even hinted that it was going to do that. So yeah, I could see it being a little scary at first, but it's not too bad. They work really good. I like that they're compact, so they store easier than the ladders. We showed where we keep the ladders over in the corner. And actually, we can go over there if you want. Do you want to go over there, Aiden, or do you think?
Yeah, we can.
We got a bunch of them jammed in the corner, a bunch of different size ladders. So this would be way easier to store if we had a bunch of these. It wouldn't take up as much space. Well, this is the mass of ladders we have here. And you can see how much space they take up and how we have a bunch of different sizes. The cool thing is you could get one at this size, drop it to this size, or drop it to this size. You wouldn't need all these different ladders. You kind of have one ladder here that you could drop and use instead of having a bunch of ladders in the corner like we do. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Well, then, would you say that you said the ladders that kind of leaned more, that those felt a little bit sturdier than, say, like the A-frames?
It depended on how high I was going. I mean, the A-frame I like that had that handle on top. None of them felt unsturdy, but I think that I just preferred the way there was less moving parts on the one that leans against the RV, if that makes sense. I didn't put the frame next to the RV and kind of reach this way. When it was leaned against the RV, I could just climb up and reach right on top. Because we used it on a slide out and showed that, you know, branches and leaves fell down on the slide out. You'd have to get up there and clear that off before you brought the slide out back in. So that was nice to lean that right up against the slide out, climb up there, get that stuff out of there, and then climb back down instead of being beside it and trying reaching over and doing it that way.
Yeah.
Whereas then with the A-frame, say you have to work on something like on your awning and you don't have a place to lean the ladder against, you need to actually work on it like out here while it's extended. The A-frame's nice because you can have it freestanding. So there's definitely pros and cons to each, I think, and kind of situations where each one kind of shines a little bit more.
And you can kind of adjust the angle of the leaning ladder, is that right? Because the bottom parts kind of move along with it. So, I mean, like you could move it further out if you needed to.
Yeah, the feet pivot, which is really nice.
So, like, for stability's sake, you could always create a wider angle if you felt like you weren't super stable.
Yep.
It's just those that have the feet that pivot, right? The A-frames don't have that, correct?
Yeah. The A-frame has a wider base here.
Okay.
They do have rubber grips here too, but they don't have the moving style.
I guess I was also just wondering, other than the example that you just gave, like who would want, there's so many different types of ladders, who would want the leaning one versus the A-frame versus the one that's in the corner there versus, anything else.
I'd have to say it depends on what you're working on and how much space you have. You'd have to get a smaller one that might fit. You might have to put it behind the couch or something on the inside. So if you're limited space like that, you might be looking more towards the leaning one because it takes up a lot less space. You can probably fit this one in one of those compartments on the side and not have to worry about it. But then again, like I said, it depends on what you're using it for.
Because I could see if you're planning on like using it around your house too, the A-frame one would be nice. I'm kind of considering getting one myself because I don't have a ladder, and Like the second night we moved into our new house, we had a smoke alarm go off that I couldn't reach. So that ladder would have been pretty handy.
I have been here almost 10 years and I still haven't painted my hallway because it's going upstairs and I don't want to have to lean a ladder up against the wall and hope for the best or kind of create a terrifying situation. But yeah, you can actually lock out one side of this so that you can take it up the stairs, right?
Yep. We did it in the hallway here at the office. If you guys remember what that looks like still, but we put it in there and leave it up on the steps.
Worked pretty well there.
Did you get a chance to mess with that, AJ, to see how that clip goes in and all that other stuff on the A-frame?
Yeah, we set it up on the steps with the clip, and that's what locks the legs out.
Yeah, because Jeff, when you guys did it, you said it wasn't very intuitive at first. You had to kind of figure it out. Was that right?
Yeah, at first we didn't even know what that black little extra plastic piece was. But yeah, going through the instructions like you're supposed to, it makes sense after that. But yeah, so essentially that's the piece, and it comes on the very bottom step when you buy it, and then you put it in between whatever level you want the non-stepping side to be at to lean on the stairs.
The one that worked on those steps?
I think they'll all work.
You want to do that?
Again?
We can do it on the RV steps here to kind of give you a demonstration.
Yeah, that would be great.
So that little guy will pop in
Here.
just like right above the lat there. Yep.
So because it's stopping and it has that gap, it won't fully lock down. So you can climb it like that.
It's not fully locked in the little notch. There it is.
And even at an angle like that, it still feels pretty sturdy.
Yep.
Okay.
Can you step on that top step? I don't mean like, can you do it now? I mean like, are you allowed to do it? And
They've got a little warning.
Do not stand above this one.
okay.
You may lose your balance. So those little top rungs there are more for like just hanging on to and stabilizing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering because it looks like with it locked out like that, it maybe isn't super straight if you were to step on it. But I guess if you're not supposed to anyway.
Yeah, the vendor doesn't recommend. You're not supposed to step, and I think this goes for all their ladders. You're not supposed to step on the very top rung. While you have it like all out and set up, did you want to attach the tool tray too, just to kind of get a full picture?
Sure. So the only thing that I thought was odd is the clips here on the side.
Just kind of tricky to release them.
Trying to trick you to release them, and I wonder if you're on the very height of this ladder, how easy this is going to be, because you can't just kind of pull this up and attach this and then keep going. It's going to fall back down, so you have to climb up there with it to attach it. On this ladder, it's not such a big deal, but
I mean, if you were building it out though, wouldn't you think you would attach it to it first and then extend the ladder up?
Yeah, because you can keep it on there.
it seemed like you had to bring it back down to slide these back in, to slide it back up, to hook that back in. Because once you hook this in, I can't
I see what you mean.
get that in
Yeah.
part. So you got to come in like this. Which, I mean, it works. It's probably just something I'm not super familiar with yet.
Just a certain order you got to get it done. But then once it's done,
Yeah.
it's nice.
Yeah, I would imagine, like, especially for some of the tallest ladders, that it would be pretty convenient. You don't have to, keep lugging stuff up and down. You can just have everything right there.
And on the leaning ladders, that can actually, you can lean it into, can you put it on the leaning ladders, I guess, and lean it to the wall and onto like the corner?
This part's got like kind of a padding, so you can kind of even put it in a corner.
Yeah.
So if we had something that in the corner, we could lean up against there, and the corner would sit in here just to further stabilize it, leaning on there.
Did you try it out at all on the leaning ladder? I was just wondering if it was shaky at all or if it felt totally stable still.
We did not mess with it on the leaning ladder yet, but we will before we get send them back.
Cool.
We haven't done the official video on this just yet.
Yeah, because that's also supposed to work like like you could put it on the corner of an RV, so you could be right there, or you could put it like in the corner of the wall. So whether that's like a convex or concave corner, it's supposed to help you stay stable, which would be nice because anytime you're like if you're trying to paint a wall or something like that in your house and you're in the corner, it's kind of weird to have a ladder like leaned all the way up against the wall. So having that little bit of space makes it better. So you're not like face plant into the wall.
Don't want to
So-
headbutt the, and you have to paint that.
Right, but yeah, no one wants to have to paint it over face marks.
Yeah.
So I guess my only other question was just curious because obviously I haven't seen these in person. Is there any other like feature or benefit that you've noticed that is worth mentioning?
The carrying strap's kind of cool. That comes with a few of them. It only comes with the A-frame runs, but this wraps around. You got the hook and loop. Just makes it easier to carry when it's in its folded state. I think the folded state's really awesome idea. Like I said, I showed you all those ladders. I think that's really the big selling point. Is like, oh, even if you only use it at your house, you can take up that much less space in your garage and not have that many ladders. Feature-wise, I guess we like the wider steps on these. It wasn't on, yeah, it was on the contractor grade one too over here. But that was the one difference for the upgrade. So this one has a lower weight capacity. This one's 250, and this one's 350.
300 on
300
this one.
on this one, sorry. But this one has the upgraded steps that are a little bit wider, where it's got this lip where it looks like you'd be kind of uneven on it, but by the time you pull it out, it is even when you're stepping on it. Just more to step on. I kind of like that.
Kind of just like grabs into your shoe treads. It seems like that might do.
Yep.
You also had, was it just a step stool?
Yep.
Yeah. Just a little.
How is that different from any other step stool, or is it not? Is it just, they just make a step stool?
Doesn't seem like it is any different.
It doesn't telescope or any fun thing like that. It does fold up, semi-flat, but it's kind of just a step.
Yeah. And I know you said you haven't done the video on the ladder that you have back in the corner, but as long as we're here, could we just see it in action?
Of course.
It is pretty neat how it opens up.
You want to grab the two ends. It's in like 4 different parts. You can see me kind of split it here. You want to pull the 2 ends, bring your arms out like that, and then you can bring it out sideways, which it might be kind of cool to see this way, huh? That's in place, but then make sure you lock the latches at the bottom, because it won't be fun if you climb up on it without these latches on. Trust us. We've only heard. We didn't do it.
Yeah, that was my bad.
Feel sturdy enough?
Oh yeah. I don't like the steps as much on this one. If you look at the steps, they're quite a bit smaller. There's not a whole lot. They're actually smaller than the normal one that leans. But, I mean, for a quick ladder that takes up not much space, it's not bad.
I could see this one being great for like around the house, like just a quick change of a light bulb or quickly getting that smoke detector. It doesn't take up a lot of space in the closet and good for those quick jobs.
How tall is it as it's folded? Offhand. I'm just thinking about actually fitting it into a closet, and I have a lot of stuff in a closet.
It's closed, it's 7 foot long, and then when it's open like that, where AJ's arms is I think it's at like 6.8 foot tall.
Okay.
And then there's a 6 foot version, 6 foot long one as well, I believe, but we don't have that.
And is that double sided? Like, can you climb on both sides or just the single side? I can't remember.
Yeah, you're able to walk up both sides of that one. The only one that's the A-frame is the one that says it has a do not climb side.
Overall, I think it's a great thing to have. Really comes in handy because you never know when you're going to need that ladder, and you'll be happy you have it when you do need it. So whether you're working on the AC on the top or using it at home to paint a hallway, you can set it up on the stairs even. I think the stairs is a really good feature of it because not a lot of ladders can do that, to make you feel safe on that uneven terrain. That way you can get whatever you need to get done, where, you know, replacing out a fire alarm or smoke detector or painting the walls. It's going to really come in handy in a bunch of different scenarios and not take up that much space. Well, I think that does it. Thanks for hanging out.